Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 6, episode 17 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. How are you doing this evening?
Doing fantastic, Sam. Fantastic. Love that we're getting to do this NBA draft preview because I don't feel like we did enough draft stuff last year, Sam. So I'm glad we're getting.
We did the draft deadline show with Kevin Sweeney for the second straight year.
Yeah, but now it definitely feels like we've been more extensive with this.
To be honest, that's more of a college basketball show.
You're right.
And this is a college basketball show. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't give a shit that the Thunder won the championship last night. It doesn't really matter to me. Cool. I like a couple of the Thunder players, but I don't really care that they won the championship. It doesn't have any impact on my life. Doesn't make it better. Doesn't make it worse. But I care a lot about the NBA draft. I don't know why. I just think it's an important moment in college basketball. I think it's an important moment in basketball. Jonathan, would you like to introduce our guest?
I think you should introduce our guest, Sam.
Logan, would you like to introduce our guest?
I'll introduce our guest. Hi, I'm Logan Adams. I'm the owner, editor, and author of Prospects and Concepts on Substack. I am a contributor to mid-major basketball for Ohio University and MAC coverage. And
the wrong MAC, single A MAC.
The right MAC. I know you had my buddy Jeff Bowles on the show. That was a great episode. But yeah. Happy to talk draft with you guys because that's where my passion lies.
We've got Mr. Ohio University, Jeff Bowles, and now we've got another Mr. Ohio University and Logan Adams.
Great stuff.
Jonathan has already started tweeting quotes from the podcast. This is an excellent start. My only time constraint, and I told this to Logan, my only time constraint is I want to get out of here before the Red Sox game at 9:40 tonight. So we've got a long time.
We got some time then
to yap about this sport. And honestly, if we need to, I'll watch Jaron Duran hit a leadoff home run while we do this live because that happened last time. He won't be hitting a leadoff home run.
I did.
Playing well. But Logan, Jonathan, we've talked endlessly. Has there been a player in college basketball over the last year that we talk about more than Cooper Flagg, Jonathan, on this podcast? Maybe.
I'd say Owen Aquino was probably in the running there, but other than that, no.
No, we did talk a lot about Owen Aquino. Isaiah Eden, honestly, might be the most talked about player on the podcast this year.
That Liberty front court, healthy or not.
Those are some sickos.
Yeah, look, we talked so much about Isaiah Eden that we might have forgotten some stuff about Cooper Flagg. We didn't forget about Cooper Flagg. Most talked about player in college basketball. Most talked about player in college basketball since Zion Williamson. Best prospect absolutely out of college, absolutely since Zion Williamson, probably since well before that. Logan has is there anything that we might have missed about Cooper Flagg in the last year that you want to touch on, or has kind of everything been said?
I think at this point everything's been said. Honestly, though, I think maybe he's still a little bit underrated. Like, you talk about what some of the guys in media are saying about him. I know there was a guest on Bill Simmons a couple weeks ago that said he was going to be Detlef Schrempf. I think he's far exceeding that.
Who said that? Jonathan?
I don't even remember who the...
I don't know. I only watched the Russillo episodes.
But
Russillo then.
There's this kind of narrative surrounding Flagg that's like he's a jack of all trades, master of none. I think he's probably going to end up being a master of a whole lot of things and then very, very good at the rest of them. Just all-star, all-NBA, all-defense kind of guy, probably 2-3 years into his career.
Yeah, I see it the same way. I don't really get the ceilings, the caps that people are putting on him. I just remember obviously completely different prospects, but the best college basketball one and done I've ever watched was Anthony Davis before this season. And Anthony Davis was the best player on every court that he played on, even if he didn't touch the basketball. And then he developed into a guy that could play on the ball, off the ball, shoot threes, do everything with the ball, do everything scoring wise. And Cooper Flagg's got all the intangibles that I think college Anthony Davis had. And obviously, I'm not saying that he's anything like Anthony Davis. They're completely different players. But caliber-wise, would you have put a ceiling on Anthony Davis and said he's not going to develop into a great offensive player? And if so, are you going to do the same thing with Cooper Flagg? Cooper Flagg can be whatever he wants to be. If he wants to be Jason Tatum, he can be Jason Tatum. If he wants to be Paul George, he can be Paul George. If he wants to be Kawhi Leonard, he can be Kawhi Leonard. If he wants to be Cooper Flagg, he'll be Cooper Flagg. I think that he's 18. Like, he doesn't turn 19 until December. He's a full 2 years younger than me. This needs to be stopped. But you look at Cooper Flagg, and whatever Cooper Flagg ends up being, he's going to be a stud.
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of said it all. I mean, what's so exciting about him is, not just the age factor and, how wow he was every single time he stepped on a college basketball floor. But, in terms of NBA projection, like some of these generational, we use that term too liberally now, but some of those type of prospects, know like the path for them to be great as a player. Like if they end up being a superstar, you know how that's going to happen. With Cooper, there's so many different ways that he can become an excellent NBA player.
Jonathan, what do you think is the most likely outcome for Cooper Flagg?
I would guess that he's a superstar on a team that's really good for a long time. It's really tough to predict team success, even with the fortunate situation that he's going to end up in Dallas. But, I think that there's no doubt about it with the current roster that Dallas has. If he is there for a long time, they will be competitive / in the mix for as long as he's really around there.
I do want to talk about Dallas because not that I care that much, to be completely honest, about how Dallas looks. But a lot of people do, and I do think it matters. So, Logan, how does Cooper Flagg fit in Dallas next to Anthony Davis, next to Kyrie Irving in year one?
I mean, like you guys have both said, he's just a very good player that fits a lot of different roles. I feel like no matter what role or lineup they're going to have him in, he's going to find a way to impact the game in 2 or 3, maybe even 4 ways at an all-star level, sub-all-star level right away. One thing that I feel like hasn't been talked about enough with him is the fact that he's actually developed into a really good shooter. Overhauled his mechanics from his last year at Montverde. It paid dividends. He shot like 39% from 3 this year. And
Cam Boozer shot 40% in each of his last 2 years at Columbus on 4 attempts per game. Just have to say that. Just have to say that out loud because I don't think enough people know it.
Yeah, Cam Boozer's incredible, man. That Duke team is going to be ridiculous because everybody can shoot.
We just have to talk about it. We just have to mention it. Not saying Boozer's better than Flagg. I just have to mention it every time I hear about Cooper Flagg becoming a great shooter. Cam Boozer already an amazing shooter, and people don't know it yet.
Yeah, but I mean, like, defensively, there should be no questions about what Cooper Flagg can do next to Anthony Davis. That's going to be a game-wrecking pair if they can both stay healthy. Obviously, you're kind of working with Clay losing a little bit of a step, but you got good role players like Najee Marshall step in. I think Coop's just going to fit like a glove in Dallas, and he probably would anywhere else in the NBA.
All 3 of us have Cooper Flagg number 1, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
in his own tier.
I actually have Caleb Grill number 1.
Good decision.
But yeah, okay. Cooper number 1 for all 3 of us. I'm assuming we all have the same guy at number 2 as well.
Dylan Harper for me.
It's got to be Dylan Harper. This is a guy that I stood next to and got sick the next day because it turns out he was sick.
That didn't make you lower on him as a prospect?
It made me higher on him. It tells me he really commands a room and his presence truly. Hey, pass the body language test.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Dylan Harper, as someone who's like been in the room with him, asked him questions directly face to face, the guy is mature enough to step in right away and be an NBA contributor. He's going to play in San Antonio next to Stephon Castle, the reigning Rookie of the Year, and some other guy who's out in China right now that I don't really know much about. I think his name is like Victorious Miller, maybe. Oh no, Victor Wembanyama.
Victorious Miller, crazy balls.
Well, let's talk about Dylan Harper's fit next to Stephon Castle, and because it's one
and De'Aaron Fox.
Oh yeah, forgot that De'Aaron Fox was there. That's who I was thinking of. I was thinking there was another guard people were talking about, and it's De'Aaron Fox. Never forget De'Aaron Fox Sweet 16 performance. But next to Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox, adding another ball handling point guard with a center that you could probably have handle the ball too. Are there too many cooks in the kitchen, or is this just you get talented players and talented players are talented?
I frankly don't think the Spurs are good enough right now to be asking themselves that question. Like, draft the best player and figure out the rest later. Like, there was a lot of talk this year about how bad Rutgers was, and injuries were a part of that. But in the 29 games that Dylan Harper played, he was far from the problem. Efficient from the floor, really high assist rate, turnover numbers weren't that bad. Was pretty good defensively and especially drawing fouls. And Sam, as you and I have talked about before, you can play him as a 1 or a 2 if his shot improves a little bit. So, I don't think his mechanics are bad. I think it's part of his game that's going to get better as he gets older. But, I think he's definitely more natural as a 1 and, a 6'6" playmaker that creates a lot of advantages.
Yeah, I was wrong about him originally. I remember when I watched him the first time, I thought he was a 2. He's a 1 and a damn good 1. First Rutgers player to have a triple-double since 1980-something. I wrote an article about this. I should know. But Dylan Harper just continued to wow every time he stepped on the floor that he wasn't guided by the hand of some disease, the norovirus that caught that team. And then I think they might have infected Illinois too, because Illinois complained about being sick for the last 2.5 months of the season.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Illinois in a little bit. But Rutgers this season obviously didn't go well. Just kind of think they missed on everyone besides Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, who we'll talk about in a minute as well. But it was certainly not on Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper did everything he could for this team. But what do you think of Dylan Harper defensively?
I think he's a solid point of attack defender. I mean, obviously lost a little bit of the conditioning throughout the year with the sickness and injury stuff that happened to him, unfortunately. But he's a guy who's strong in the chest. He moves his feet well laterally and really can just wall off guys when he's engaged. Like I said, some of that fall off kind of happened throughout the season because of conditioning, because of offensive load, because of injury. But just a guy who you can kind of trust to defend maybe the second or third best scorer in a lineup and hold his own a little bit while still giving you what he does on offense.
Jonathan, anything else to add on Dylan Harper before we move on?
I think he's honestly a better NBA prospect than a lot of people are giving him credit for right now. We talk about so much about Cooper, and I don't think Dylan Harper is in that tier, but I think he's one of the best guards that we've seen in the last 5-6 years of this stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to think of who's the best slasher we've seen at that position since, obviously before Dylan Harper. De'Aaron Fox was one of the guys that came up when I was thinking about it. Now they're going to be teammates. I think that fit's going to be fun.
All right, here's my question for you. I'm going to give you this or that. Dylan Harper or John Morant as a prospect?
Probably Ja.
Morant.
Yeah.
Dylan Harper or Scoot Henderson as a prospect?
Harper.
Okay. Dylan Harper or Ant as a prospect?
Ant, I think.
I was lower on Ant. I think I had LaMelo 1. That was when I was like 16 and still getting into this stuff. So
Okay, Dylan Harper or LaMelo?
Probably LaMelo.
I
Is
think
there anyone else I'm forgetting before?
Like I think I would take Cade as a prospect.
Oh
Over
yeah,
Harper.
Dylan Harper or Cade.
Like I think I would take Cade, but like
I'm not even gonna ask Dylan Harper or Jalen Green. That's disrespectful to Dylan Harper. Jalen Green. I'm not sure I would take Jalen Green over Jalen LeCue at this point.
Jalen Green was a pretty good prospect that,
No, I refuse to believe he was as good as a prospect as people said he was.
I
He
mean,
was
we're
never
going to
on
look
a
back
tier
at some
with
of this
Mobley.
G League Ignite stuff in the next 10 years and be like, some kids made some really, really bad decisions.
We're going to say the same thing about this thing called Overtime Elite.
Yeah, and we're going to have more of a sample size from Overtime Elite than we are the G League Ignite.
Shout out Rob Dillingham.
Thompson Twins are going to be the only success story coming out of there. And it's because
it's too bad G League Ignite didn't survive long enough that we get the like weird Overtime Elite G League Ignite crossover where you play your senior year of high school at overtime and then
there had to be at least one
your draft year I'm sure there's like one, but
like didn't like Tyler Smith do that or something?
Probably. That was that guy was not a real NBA prospect.
No, not a chance he's a real person. The woke left tried to convince me he was the first round pick.
To be fair, that draft last year would have had like
I don't even remember what year Tyler Smith was in the draft. The only Tyler Smith I remember is the guard from Tulsa that the Cowboys took.
He was last year.
He's good, by the way.
He was
I know he is.
Matas Buzelis.
Yeah.
Don't mention Matas Buzelis in front of Jonathan.
That was one of my biggest meltdowns about sports in the last year, and he ended up having a decent year. So
I like him a lot more than I did pre-draft.
I'll take the L for right now on that one.
Yeah, until they draft another Matas Buzelis.
No, it's another Josh Giddey. We'll get to him later.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
Well, all right.
All right.
We are off the rails right now. But good start. Good start. We've talked about two players, and let's kind of branch here. Who do you guys have number 3?
Colin Murray Boyles.
You have Murray Boyles 3?
I do, yeah.
I respect the hell out of that.
I mean, I knew that you had him 3. I know that I think you're wrong. I know that you're wrong. But I'm gonna let you explain yourself while you drink your Starbucks.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing Colin Murray Boyles isn't like insane at on the basketball court, and that's shooting. And even then, he still got like a solid like face-up mid-range game. But I think the question of like, will he need to shoot is kind of overblown because he just does so much good stuff. He's like more athletic than anybody's given him credit for. He's stronger than anybody's given him credit for, and he's smarter than anybody's given him credit for. And all that has made him probably either the second or third best defender in this class, after Cooper, obviously, and probably Thomas Sorber. But also just an incredible passer, an incredible post scorer, incredible cutter, finishes everything around the rim. I mean, just go back and watch that Arkansas game where he gave 35 to Zvonimir Ivicic. That's kind of my case for him, is that he just does everything well on a basketball court except for shoot. And while that's a kind of big if, I don't think it's as big for him as it is for somebody like, like Ben Simmons or any number of the non-shooting prospects we've seen in the past.
I'm going to ask you like the same question that I asked you like 2 weeks ago. It's like Colin Murray Boyles is good. Like, are we sure he's better than Rasheer Fleming? Like, and are we sure he's that much?
Absolutely sure he's better than Rasheer Fleming.
I'm not.
Okay, so if Rasheer Fleming could do anything with the ball on the floor or do more than just like make up ground on defense after losing the initial rep, I'd probably be higher on him. But there's so much he gets away with by losing those reps against A10 athletes rather than SEC athletes or even NBA athletes. And then just how fast and how kind of fun this St. Joe's offense was this year. he benefited a lot from not having to put the ball on the floor.
Yeah, but if he benefited a lot from St. Joe's offense, then you're not applying the other side of the metronome.
That's fair. Yeah.
St. Joe's, where the lack of any sort of flapping intention of defense must have hurt him, which it did. It did. He had to do so much on that end. And I just think that, like, the idea of like these two guys being in radically different tiers doesn't make sense to me. And I don't even consider myself like the biggest Fleming fan. Like, I like Sorber more than both of these guys. So I think I like Colin Murray-Boyles as an idea. I just don't think he is like what you explained him to be. Like, I don't think he's as good at most of the things as you do.
That's fair. I mean, it's we'll see, I guess, kind of thing. But as much as we talk about like how poorly Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey were affected by Rutgers, essentially being awful past them, I mean, South Carolina was down the board.
Oh my God!
Probably you throw that team out into MAC play without Colin Murray-Boyles. I mean, 1A MAC, and they probably have a losing record.
Maybe.
I don't think that team is beating Akron.
No, they're beating Akron. What's Akron doing about? Well, like there's just too much size.
I mean, sure, but just
like what's Akron doing about Nick Pringle on the glass? Like,
they're running around him on offense and doing a lot of stuff to him.
Yeah, but I mean, like Jamari Thomas was a player of the year in the MEAC and would be a player of the year in the MAC.
That's fair. I might be underrating them.
They also had like a 45% effective field goal percentage as a number 2 option this year.
Yeah, I mean, look,
like clearly he couldn't play at this level.
Yeah, but if you put Jamari Thomas in the MAC, I think you're looking at a player of the year type guy. Like, all right, who are you taking? Jamari Thomas or Nate Johnson?
Probably Nate Johnson.
I think he's going to be great.
Is it that significant? Is it significantly different?
I mean, I think it's significantly different because like South Carolina didn't have a team.
I'm not talking about South Carolina. I'm just saying in general. Like, who's a better basketball player?
Nate,
but it's not by much. In the MAC specifically, I don't think there's much of a difference. All right, this argument is really bad. We are now arguing a MAC player of the year against the MEAC player of the year.
We're 23 minutes in. I love this.
Jonathan, who do you have number 3? And please don't say an answer as vulgar as Logan's.
VJ Edgecombe.
That is my number 3.
For the thing for me with VJ is like, I think his floor is like a quintessential role player on a really good team, which is still like very valuable. Like his athleticism and the way he plays defense, like I think gives him a very nice floor. And then, you know, if the shot continues to improve, handle gets a little better and he can play a little more on the ball. Like assist numbers weren't bad this year. Efficiency numbers got better as the year went on. He's obviously like one of the best athletes in this draft, and I think will probably be one of the best athletes in the league when he comes in. He just needs to get better at some of the basketball things, but he has things that you cannot teach.
I always thought VJ like didn't have any bag off of the dribble, and I think that's kind of still the case. But he's so explosive with that first step that it doesn't really matter. Like he doesn't need a ton of counters, because he's just like going to beat you. And if he's not going to, if he's not going to have the ball in his hands a ton, because kind of by the end of the year, they put the ball in his hands a lot more than I ever would have. Because like they had guys hurt. They had a 2-man rotation basically by the end of the year. It was him and Rob Wright. And it was not pretty. But I look at I look at VJ and I just see a guy that can blow by dudes. Was not. But he could blow by dudes and jump over dudes and play awesome defense. And if you can do that at a decent height as a 2 guard with a little bit of on-ball juice as a passer, which we saw come in throughout the year. I think you're going to be worth a top 3 pick.
I think VJ is a really good example right now of like why I think there needs to be different narratives around the way we evaluate players, because I'm pretty confident that VJ Edgecombe will never be a number one option on a team that's like a perennial.
That would be if VJ
like,
Edgecombe is your number 1 option, you have the Jeremy Grant disease.
But again, like I'm not.
I almost called him Jerry and Grant, by the way.
He's not my number 3 prospect because, like, I think he's going to be this, superstar, all-star every year. Like, if he's, a really good second option on a team that wins 50 games a year, like, that's a really good NBA career.
All right, let's go quickly through another couple guys and then do a full 2-round mock draft.
Ooh, okay.
With no prep, by the way. We did not prep mock draft.
This is going to be tough.
Jonathan, I'm going to give you my number 4 through my number 10.
Okay.
Logan, you're going to do the same. Jonathan, you're going to do the same. All right, number 4, Con Knipple. Number 5, Kaman Malawak. Number 6, Derek Queen. Number 7, Trey Johnson. Number 8, Ace Bailey. Number 9, Thomas Sorber. And number 10, Nick Clifford.
Logan, you can go next.
Do you want me to do just college guys? Because I know you've said previously.
Do you have a Senge in the top 10?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the mock draft is going to have to include him.
Sam, did you listen to the Simmons pod last night?
I listened to a little bit of it.
Priscilla went on like a 5-minute rant, like an hour and a half into the show, about how he doesn't like a Senge because he keeps falling down when he watches him on film.
I listened to
that. dude, you know who that was for me? There was a certain player that was. I don't know if I could say out loud who, but I could text you that. I just texted.
Okay, Logan, you can go ahead and do only college guys. And when
no, include.
Okay, yeah, for the purpose of this, because we're doing the mock.
And Jonathan, check your texts.
I don't remember you telling me that.
No,
but that's
it wasn't
funny.
That exact thing. It was just every time I watched him bring the ball up the court, he turned it over.
Okay.
And did you have Ace in your top 10? I don't think I heard him.
I had Ace, not Asa.
Yeah, Ace Bailey. Where did you have Ace?
8. I had Asa Newell. Asa Newell's 12. But
Ace. Gotcha. So my 4 through 10: Con Knipple, Trey Johnson, Derek Queen, VJ Edgecombe, Noah Senge, Jace Richardson, and Noah Penda.
Love the Jace Richardson hype, but that's a little bit much for me. Jonathan, 4 through 10?
I have Con at 4, Derek Queen at 5, 6, Kaman Malawak, 7, Colin Murray Boyles, 8, Nick Clifford, 9, Trey Johnson, 10, Carter Bryant.
Okay. Mock draft time, unless anybody has any massive objections.
Cedric Coward's 11 for me, by the way.
Cedric Coward is 13 for me. I'm a little lower on Carter Bryant because, I like him.
He needs to become more mature.
I'm just not sure. There were a lot of games where I watched Carter Bryant and I was thinking, really? Like this guy? But there were also a bunch of games.
Did none of us have Jeremiah Fears in the top 10?
I had.
Thank God, man.
He's 14 for me.
We'll get into him later in the show. Thank God.
I don't think there's a chance. There's a chance he's one of the 5 best players from this class, but there's also a chance that he's out of the league in 2 years.
Yeah, it's just a lot of guard prospects at his size. You're betting on one swing skill. He's probably got 3 that have a good chance of happening. But if they don't, he's probably I don't even know who, a G League guard putting up 20 and 7,
Taller Marquise Noel. I don't know.
Something like that.
Awful. All right.
What's
Sam,
that website?
Sam, do you want to pull up a mock on your screen and share?
That's what I'm doing. I literally just said, "What's that website?"
It's
Fanspo?
Fanspo.
Yeah,
That's the one I
Fanspo.
use, at least.
All right, let's do this.
Please tell me.
It has Aaron Scott on the board.
Fanspo? What website are you on?
Fanspo.
Oh, good. Full.
All right, let's do this. Jesus Christ, this is taking way longer.
We're using the no ceilings board.
Shout out No Ceilings, by the way.
They're good.
Had Maxwell on the pod last night.
That's my guy.
Great guy. Full draft.
So how are we doing this? Are we doing it alternate every pick?
No. Yeah. I think that's what we'll do. We'll alternate every pick.
Okay, hold on. I want to count this out.
Do we just go like in order of where our heads are?
Can I have the third pick so I can pick for the Bulls?
Okay. I'll take number 1 and
I'll go
Logan will take number 2. No trades.
Yeah.
All right.
Go on for 6 hours if we did trades.
With the first pick in the NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select a player who's going back to college. No, I'm taking Cooper Flag.
I'm going Dylan Harper.
Spurs on the clock. Dylan Harper is the pick.
Sixers VJ.
Okay, I'm up with the number 4 pick, and this is where it gets. All right, the Hornets are on the clock. I don't know anything about the Hornets roster, so I'm just looking at it right now.
They have.
I know they have a point guard, and I know
shoots a lot.
I know they have a point guard, and I know they have Miles Bridges, and Brandon Miller.
They also have Miles Bridges.
I don't
know if you consider him like a franchise cornerstone though, on a team that won like 20 games.
With this contract, he might be. I think like the best case scenario for like this roster build would be with LaMelo and Brandon Miller being the 2 top scorers, I would say. So I don't think this would be the spot for Ace or Trey Johnson. So I think I'm going to take Malawak and try and trade Mark Williams, because clearly they already tried to trade Mark Williams. So I'm going to take Malawak. Logan, you are on the clock with the Utah Jazz.
I'm probably going Con here. My personal player comp for myself.
Okay.
Just the most Mormon-looking guy going to Utah. Adds a lot of shooting. Adds a lot of playmaking. They've got like
there is a BYU guy on the board.
I'm not taking him. But just adds a lot of shooting, a lot of playmaking. He's probably the best guard on that team.
Wizards, Jonathan. Oh my God, that is a lot of guards and a lot of bad guards.
So yeah, they have like
Ty Lawson.
What is Kendrick Nunn? Didn't Kendrick Nunn just win the MVP of like the fucking Greek third league?
So
they just started adding guys on there.
To me, like the Wizards have like
Jan Mahinmi in 2025.
This Wizards team has like what, one promising player and then like 2 other players that they think are promising, but like
who's
might not
the promising player? Sar?
Bub Carrington.
Bilal?
Who?
Koulibaly.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So your building blocks here are Bub, Bilal, and Sar.
Yeah.
None of those guys are that good.
So like I think it like kind of makes sense that like the Wizards swing on a number 1 option here, because like I don't really see any of the guys on this team like developing into a legit number 1 on a winning team. And so I think I'm gonna go Ace Bailey, even though I don't like him.
Okay. I get
Just
that.
makes the most sense at this pick to me.
All right. New Orleans at 7. Your building blocks here are Zion, Herb Jones, and
Well,
DeJounte
supposedly.
Murray. Well, yeah, the whole Zion situation makes that all interesting.
Like Trey Murphy is their best player.
Oh, right. I forgot about
assuming
him.
that like Zion is like not going to play more than 30 games.
In a
Wow,
vacuum, we all agree he's for sure.
But
better
they
than-
have
Yeah,
Misi.
yeah.
They have
Okay.
Misi, so they have their athletic big. I don't think you're taking Derek Queen here. I don't know if Trey Johnson is the pick either, though.
That's probably who I'd go. Just get some super spacers around Zion and put him and Trey Murphy in the same wing duo.
Yeah, I think Trey Johnson is the most sensible pick. But like, I don't know. All right, Logan, you're up for Brooklyn.
Did you take Trey?
Yes.
Okay.
See, I'm going to look like a hypocrite for not taking CMB 3 picks in a row at this point. But maybe that's me just trying to save him. I think I go Derek Queen here.
Okay, I like it.
Who's up at 9? The Raptors.
Yeah.
Toronto,
just
yeah.
have, like-
All right, your building blocks in Toronto are Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram.
RJ Barrett?
Are we considering RJ Barrett a building block in the Big 2025?
Probably not, but one of my favorite players I've ever watched in college.
Yeah, and if he was better in college, they would have won a national championship.
Fair enough.
So you're really only two like big time building blocks here are Scotty and Ingram. Unless you also, well, I guess quickly because they have him on that contract.
So like, this is kind of a weird spot for me because, like, I'm not super high on a lot of these point guards in this draft, and like, a lot of the players that I like left are like wings, and they have, Barrett, Ingram, and Barnes.
They also have Jacoby Walter and Ochai Abaji.
So like, it's weird because like all the like those bigs are gone. Kaman's gone. Queen's gone. I'm gonna take a swing here and take a guy that I really like, but he fills a team need. I think he's gonna be a solid NBA player, at least as a floor. That's Thomas Sorber.
Ooh, I wanted to take him at some point here.
That's a
Good pick. Good pick. Phoenix at 10.
That's tough because I really want the Bulls to take him.
Phoenix at 10. The only thing you don't want here is you just like you have Booker, you have Jalen Green. Booker is the only guy I look at on this roster and call a building block. So you can really go anywhere with this pick. But I don't want to go with a wing because I feel like they have a bunch of wings. But if you got Booker, you also probably really want to win on his contract, and you're probably not going to be able to do that because you also have Beal's contract. So really, there is nothing, nothing stopping you from taking a big swing here. But I don't think you'd take a big swing on a ball dominant guy because you have Booker, Beal, and all those guys. And I know I said you don't really want to take a wing, but I feel like I want to take Nick Clifford here. Am I crazy for that?
I don't think so. I'm big on Neek.
Yeah, I like Nick.
I just like him too much. Logan, Portland at 11.
I really don't like Portland's roster other than like Donovan Clingan.
Who are the building blocks here?
Like Clingan, Scoot, if you still believe.
Because Simons
Depends what you think about Anthony Simons.
Because they've been trying to trade Simons for 5 years.
Yeah, he's playing for February 2026. Get on a good team. But you got like Clingan, you've got Tumani Kamara. You got Denny if you like Denny.
I think they like Denny.
Yeah, I mean that front. I mean Mike Schmitz is the biggest Denny Avdia fan in the world, I think. So
Mike
you really
Schmitz,
have like your
former future North Carolina basketball GM.
former future. You really got like your like front court kind of locked up, but I'm really tempted to go CMB here. Just squeeze him between Tumani and Klingon. He mixes up coverages for you in the pick and roll, so you can keep Klingon in the back line.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Home run, Ronald Acuna Jr.
CMB.
All right,
Yep.
you're up, and it's you, and it's the Bulls. Should I take him?
No. Okay. So first of all, this is like the worst case scenario I think for the Bulls. If they get to their pick, and we kind of think that Malawach is going to be gone anyway, but like Malawach is gone, Queen is gone, Sorber's gone, CMB is gone. Like those are like my 4 guys that like I kind of want them to take, and all of them are gone. So this is an interesting spot. You have Giddey, Buzelis. Their front court is really, really bad. Like Vucevic is not he doesn't have a future on this team. They should actively try to trade him. And Patrick Williams is on arguably the worst contract in the NBA right now. And so I'm gonna take, I think, a wing here who, you're kind of swinging for upside here, but lights out shooter, I think fits well with the passing that you have from Giddey, and Kobe White is an on-ball guy. I'm gonna take Carter Bryant.
Okay. That puts me on the clock with Atlanta. Your building blocks here are Trae Young, Zachary Reese-Sachet, who you took number 1 last year,
Jalen Johnson,
and I think they could use a big man.
Dyson Daniels too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take.
This team could be a top 4 seed in the East next year. Holy cow!
Dude, no Tatum,
I'm
no
going to keep Asa Newell in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
Spurs, second pick. It's you again, Logan.
French connection. Let's go Noah Sengay.
Okay. Oklahoma City, Jonathan. What do you even do with this pick if you're Oklahoma City?
So, like, I think the only way that they draft a player here that has a spot in the rotation is if they trade Isaiah Joe. Like, I guess, you obviously you have a dominant ball handler. This team has everything they need. So I'm just going to take the guy who I think is the best player available, and that's Cedric Coward.
That feels like a very Sam Presti pick.
Yeah.
This is Dallas. No, wait, this is Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Your building blocks here are, well, you traded Desmond Bane, so your building blocks are Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson.
Sakiti?
Okay, that's less of a building block. Building blocks are guys that you are 100% sure are on the next good version of this team.
Fair enough.
Jalen Wells.
Yeah, give me my Jalen.
Yeah, I think Wells probably ends up on the next good version of this team. You know what I think would be sick? Danny Wolf playing with Jaren Jackson. But they already have a big man behind Jackson and Edey. So I don't think that makes any sense. It would be a really fun thing to do. But I think you can kind of try and you need shooting. You need shooting here after trading Desmond Bane. So I'm taking Liam McNeely.
All right.
Minnesota at 17. Logan.
This is kind of interesting spot because you're looking at point guard if you're not sold Rob Dillingham's ready for next year. You're looking at center to back up Rudy long term. But I think I'm probably going Jace here. Mm-hmm. Just fill in a couple spots, play a couple minutes, make a couple shots, then hopefully come into that Conley Dillingham spot.
All right, Washington. You already took Ace Bailey at 6, adds to your building blocks of Bilal, Sar, and Bub, who again, I'm not even sure if those are building blocks. What do you do now?
So I think if you're drafting Ace Bailey, like the only way that you draft Ace Bailey is if you think that he is going to be a number one option for you at some point, no matter.
Or if you are just betting on him doing it, not if you think he's going to be, if like that is the plan for him.
If you want him to be like your number one option for the future, like I think you kind of have to add shooting around him, and so like kind of unconventional pick, but I love the player. I'm gonna take Walter Clayton.
Okay.
I like it.
I would be so mad if he ended up there, honestly. All right. I got Brooklyn, and it's me. And we already took Derek Queen. I'm going to give them a point guard. I'm going to give them they're probably glad that they can get Jeremiah Fears at 19.
Yeah.
Miami, who are they swinging on? Logan.
Let's go Danny Wolf. Why not?
I would take Danny Wolf at Miami. That would be such a good pick. Jonathan, the Jazz.
Hold on, we just took Wolf to the Heat, right?
Heat.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the range he's probably going into.
It's the Jazz, and I feel like this pick makes too much sense to not be Demon.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, they kind of have a need at point guard. Your front court, you have Kessler, Collins, Markkanen. You know, either a wing or a guard makes sense here. So
we already got your wing.
I will go Demon.
All right, that brings me on the board with the Atlanta Hawks. I already took Asa Newell, so I got myself a big man. I think they could use let's get another front court piece and go with Rasheer Fleming. This front court is clearly worse than the back court, I would say, because you don't have Trae Young in it. I mean, you could play Reece Shea at the 3. Johnson can be obviously. You look at Jalen Johnson, and you look at that as a future piece in your front court. I also think he can. I think you can make this work with Fleming and Newell. I just like the idea of this. And he gets to continue flapping. Pelicans.
So we took Trae
took Trae Johnson.
I don't think you see DeJounte Murray as a long-term piece. You're still looking for a point guard. I think this is where you go Kasparas Yakichonis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see again?
They're not going to have both of these picks.
I don't think they use either of these picks.
I think they stay at 15.
Either that or, you try to trade up and get someone you really, really like.
I could see this, like, I know this, Jonathan, this is your pick. I could see them trying to move Hartenstein, because that's a big contract, and going for a big man here.
I mean, Hartenstein has what, a couple years?
Yeah, but that's a big contract, and like they are going to need that money.
Yeah, but I don't think they need to move him now.
I guess you're right. I'm just going off of what Pranav tweets.
So like, if you're the Thunder, at this point, like,
should I just call Pranav right now and say, hey, who are you taking at 20, whatever this is?
Yeah, do it. Let's celebrity pick.
If you're the Thunder at this point,
no, let's do it. Let's do it.
Are you actually calling him?
Yes, I'm going to call him.
Going Ryan Kalkbrenner.
For the record, I was going to take a Duthiero.
I like it.
All right, I'm calling him.
He's not answering if you saw my tweet.
Not a chance he's answering. Pranav, you are live on Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Steelers mock draft. We are up with the Oklahoma City Thunder at the 24th pick. We took Cedric Coward at 15. Who are you taking at 24? The top options on the big board, according to the No Ceilings draft board, are Ben Seraph, Nolan Traore, Will Riley, Adu Thiero, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Ugo Gonzalez, Johan Behringer, Janai Broom, Cam Jones, and Maxime Reynaud.
That's a great question. Let's go with Hugo.
Okay.
Hugo.
Ooh, awesome. Thank you so much, Pranav.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your day.
Yep. See ya.
All right. Hugo Gonzalez goes 24 to the Thunder.
Should we give this pick to Jonathan because we kind of took one of his?
Yeah. Let's just move it down a pick.
Okay, so
Thanks,
who's
Jonathan.
up now?
Orlando Magic. I don't even know, like,
Logan,
what this
can
team
Seraph
looks like.
shoot?
What's up?
Can Seraph shoot?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I'm
like
gonna go.
Deep shooting.
I'm gonna go. This is gonna be weird, but I'm gonna go Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
Oh.
They just need to corner the shooting market, and like he's probably one of the best 3 shooters in the draft.
Nets again.
Sam, this is you, right?
Yeah, you got a big. You got a point guard. I think that means you have to go with a wing. Give me Sion James.
Ooh.
Over Riley?
Yep.
Dude, how far
I'm just more sure that you end up with a winning player in Sion. Logan, you're up with Brooklyn again. If you want to take Will Riley and you want to call me an idiot for taking Sion over Will Riley, now's your chance.
You gotta just pick a starting 5 here. If you're, I think I'm going to go Noah Pende here.
Where the hell is Noah Penda?
37.
37.
Jonathan, you are up with the Celtics. Should I take this one?
You want to take this one and I'll take the next one?
Honestly, I have no idea what the Celtics should do here. But honestly, you kind of need a lot and need nothing. Like, this draft pick probably isn't going to help you out right now. So, Jonathan, just make the pick.
So it's weird because, like, the Celtics are moving on from someone in this offseason and you don't know who yet. Like, whether that's Drew Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis or, literally anyone else changes completely, like, the pick you make here.
The only draft
strategy that I'm like not okay with the Celtics taking is like trying to take a wing to like replace the like part of like Tatum for 1 year, which I just think would be incredibly.
What I'm gonna say is the only guy that I think like should be untouchable right now, obviously aside from Tatum, would be Derek White.
Yeah.
I think he was the second best player on the team this year, and I think he's going to be the best player on the team next year.
So
I watched like 6 games all year. So, Jonathan,
I think I'm gonna go under the assumption that Howard is the guy they move on from, and I'm gonna take Nolan Traore.
Man, when I first watched Nolan Traore, I thought this was like.
I was pretty sure he was going to be a top 10 pick at this time last year.
Dude.
All right.
Phoenix,
again, they kind of need a lot. I'm going to take a swing here and go Behringer. Clippers at 30, Logan.
So there's a guy who is in my lottery on my board that's still on the board. I'm going Maxime Reynaud here.
I love it.
Play him next to Zubac. I don't even care.
Those styles contrast each other.
Jonathan, you're up with the Timberwolves at 31. We already took Jace Richardson.
So you kind of, took your point guard. I could honestly, it's really early to give up on Dillingham, but I could see them taking another. But I'm gonna take, your center situation's kind of set. I'm gonna take Will Riley.
Okay.
I will have some. By the way, I will have some choice words on Twitter on Wednesday night if Will Riley does not get picked in the first round.
That brings me to the plate for the Celtics, and I'm taking Ryan Kalkbrenner.
I like it.
The Charlotte Hornets are on the clock. Malawak already went. The fact that the Hornets have to try to like get back into the first round at some point because they.
Yeah. But you know who
they completely wasted a first round pick last year on a dude who's not even real.
Tajan Salam. I don't even
Exactly. You cover the draft. You can't even pronounce his name.
Some of those overseas games I watch on mute just because like I try to understand the words and it just doesn't work and I end up getting distracted. But you know who's still on the board here that I feel like just needs to go at some point and is actually a good fit? Adutiero.
Okay, I like it. I really was hoping he would come back to Arkansas.
Just get a defensive guy between or outside of LaMelo and Brandon Miller.
Charlotte again, Jonathan, you're up.
So you took Malawak, so you kind of got your center. You took Tiero. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Chaz Lanier.
Okay.
Ooh, it's a fun pick.
Yeah, God that can play off LaMelo.
Sixers. I don't even know what you do here at this point. You already got VJ.
Who's going to be the most fun when Joel Embiid and Paul George get injured eventually?
Drake Powell would probably be a solid option somewhere. Not sure if it would be here. Someone talk me out of taking Mark Sears.
He's 5'10".
Okay, and?
You're right. You know, got to respect my former Ohio Bobcat.
I just
go down for Sears here. Jesus.
What'd you say?
I was looking for Sears on the draft board.
He's like
going to take him.
64.
Like at this point, I'm just taking guys that I like because I don't think you're looking at anybody that is like an absolute like to impact the game immediately. I mean, I think Broom probably will, but you're not creating any minutes in that front court.
So you took Sears?
Yeah, I took Sears. Noah, you are up with the Nets.
Noah?
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
I thought you Noah because I was looking at the name Noah Penda. Logan, you are up with the Nets. Have we ever had a Noah on the podcast? It's a good question.
So we went point guard, back-to-back wings, and then obviously center. Do you just keep drafting a starting five here, or do you go for a third stringer? I'm really tempted to go like Yannick Conan or Amari Williams, but I don't know if that's a good fit.
Who cares about fit? It's the second round.
Yeah. Let's just go upside. I'm taking Drake Powell.
Okay. Jonathan, you're up with the Pistons. First pick of the draft, I believe, for the Pistons. Who did they trade their first to?
Was that part of like Jalen Duren stuff from like a long time ago?
Probably.
I was at that draft, and I still have no idea what happened.
It was like a lot of one-pick trades.
Jonathan?
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Kind of have Sasser as a backup one now. I'm gonna take Janai Broom.
Yep, that was gonna be probably my next pick. It's a good pick. Harper's off the board. You definitely don't want to go with a guard here.
Harper's off the board at 38. I hope so.
No. So you went with Harper. You just have so many guards right now between Harper, Fox, Castle, and Vassell You took a Senge. You have Victor. But none of these guys look like decent backup bigs. So I'm going to go with Yannick.
So we're back on the board with the Raptors. Who did we take last week? Sorber?
Yep.
I
feel like this.
Let's go Cam Jones.
Yeah, I was going to say I would take Cam Jones here. A little bit surprised he lasted this long.
You already went with an old guard in Jamal Sheb last year. Let's get another one.
Jonathan, you're up with the Wizards. You took Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton.
Oh, I get to pick for the Wizards 3 times.
Yep.
They're going to love me over there. Yeah.
Keep scrolling down, by the way, if you want to.
We got a wing and a guard. Let's take one of my most intriguing prospects in this draft. I'm going to go Dylan Cardwell.
Love it.
I think there's a spot for him in the league.
I agree.
I was going to take him at some point.
Stick him in the dunker spot and see what happens.
All right, Warriors. Oh my God, you badly need a big man. Why is Andrew Bogut listed on here? Has Andrew Bogut played in the NBA in the last 6 years?
No, I think he's done more podcasts since then.
The problem is you need a big man that's not going to go to the G League.
Well, I guess that takes Hanson Yang out of the equation, but I'm going to take Hanson Yang.
He's going to be like Luka Garza 2.0 and just put up 35 and 34 minutes in the G League.
Who'd you take, Sam? Yang?
Hanson Yang. He's a Chinese guy who some people really like and some people really don't. And I've
seen his name floated around.
And I'm just going to say, hey, maybe he's really good and maybe he's not. Who cares? Kings.
I really hate
Devin Carter back from injury, so you don't need anybody on this team because Devin Carter is going to single-handedly lead them to the Super Bowl. Hashtag Fryer. Hashtag the King. I don't know.
Hashtag Kim English.
Hashtag engagement farming. Hashtag PCBC. Hashtag.
This team has way too many guys who I like.
Hashtag the resignation. Hashtag the investigation.
Let's get another Big East guy off the board. Let's go Micah Peavy.
Good stuff.
Michael
Hashtag Ed Cooley.
The Kings have way too many guys who I loved as college players, but never thought they had a chance of being an NBA player.
We're just going to have the 2 most annoying Big East guards on defense ever in our backcourt with Devin Carter and Micah Peavy.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't tell me either of those guys is more annoying than Cam Spencer.
Fair enough.
Now,
really defensively.
Cam Spencer was going to knock down a 3 and then let you know about it. I loved Cam Spencer going up to Kevin Durant and being like, who the fuck are you? I'm Cam Spencer. I'm a national champion. You're Kevin Durant. You're nothing. You're not a national champion. Where's your national championship? Jonathan, you're up.
I'm up right now with Utah, right?
By the way, I had never heard of Bogoljub Markovic until a week ago.
Hilarious name.
Not a chance he was real. He's fun. I had this agenda for 2 years that Victor Wembanyama wasn't real. And they would announce him on draft night when he went to shake Adam Silver's hand, he would spontaneously combust. But I'd watched him play basketball. I'd followed him for a few years. Bogoljub Markovic just was a 2K creative player last week that poured it into life.
He's from the same program as
Utah already took. So Utah already took Khan. You got your connector piece with Khan. You got your 6'9" point guard with Demon. Let's get some athleticism on the wing. I'll take Jackson Robinson. Sam, you really thought I was going to let Jackson Robinson go undrafted, didn't you?
That's a good pick.
I'll never give up on him.
Oh, look, there's Mr. KJ.
KJ Pistons. Shout out.
Who?
Grant Nelson.
Grant Nelson.
Oh.
Whole reason he's at Alabama right now.
I thought you were about to throw out a Judah Mintz.
OKC on the board. This is me now. We gave them Coward and Hugo Gonzalez. give me a big man. Should I go Vlad Golden?
I like the guy above him a little bit more.
Amari.
I like Moni too, but like that's so offense tilted, and I just don't know if he does anything on defense.
He's also just kind of like another Jalen Williams.
Take Pfeiffer's guy, Rocco Zakarski.
No, I will never take Pfeiffer's guy, Rocco Zakarski. Fuck it. There's a spot in the league for Cameron Matthews, and if it's with anyone, it's with the Thunder.
You're not wrong.
I forgot he existed until I saw his name there.
The Thunder would be a great spot for Cam Matthews if they didn't already have like 3 Cam Matthews.
Yeah, but like that's who's to say they're not going to draft a 4th, considering they've already drafted 3.
You're not wrong.
So this is an easy pick for me. I'm just going Amari Williams here. Give me a guy who can play defense.
I love it.
Give me a guy who can pass.
Anything that gets
Jonathan, you're up with
anything that gets Nikola Vucevic off my court quicker.
Yeah.
Jonathan, you're up with the Magic.
So I'm gonna try to do that thing where I corner the market for shooters again.
Payman Lipsy, that's a shooter.
Yeah, thanks. I'll keep that in mind.
Is this where Caleb Grill goes?
He's out here.
Sam, what do you think? Poulikitis or Bryce Williams?
Bryce.
I agree.
Where is Bryce?
58.
All right. That brings me up with the Bucks. God, they need anything at this point.
This board has Arthur Kaluma in the top 70, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no. Arthur Kaluma, when I say anything, Arthur
They already
Kaluma
have an Arthur. They already have an Arthur Kaluma.
I know, but I'm just saying.
They already have an Arthur Kaluma. It's honest.
Chris Livingston.
Maybe top
No,
70.
no. You have to remember, Arthur Kaluma was Giannis in that one film from after his freshman year.
I like seriously started watching like high school recruiting in like 2022, and to this day, I don't think I've been like more confident that a like top 10 player in a class wasn't going to be good than Chris Livingston.
Yeah, I agree. Good game, but he's out for the year. Let's see.
Who are you taking?
Give me. I would love to take Keyshawn Gilbert, but this team doesn't need him.
The Javon Small fans are going to hate it.
We're going to start making some real homer picks here down the stretch.
I'm just going to take Golden. Get Myers Leonard off the basketball court.
All right, Grizzlies. We took McNeely last pick. Maybe go backup center.
I think Javon Small could go soon.
He deserves to. I think he should have gone at this point, but I don't know if it's to the Grizzlies.
Dude, what is Ben Seraph still doing on the board? Is he that bad?
I don't like him.
I'll take your word for it, Logan.
Do you mind scrolling down a little bit, Sam? I just want to peruse because I'm starting to.
I was very close to taking Jameer Watkins, by the way.
Yeah, that's a guy that I'm looking at too.
Was Dink
Brooks
paid?
Barnhizer. Let's go Brooks Barnhizer.
Was Dink paid a G League Ignite guy at one point?
Yes.
Yeah,
He was
Okay, so
he was like there as a 17-year-old.
so he's off my board.
Cleveland. Jonathan, this is for you.
Wait, who just got taken?
Brooks Barnhizer.
Ah, love it.
Jonathan, would you like to take a Dennis Gates player here, given
No.
that Dennis Gates has connections to the city of Cleveland?
No,
Rob Summers.
I'm not.
Rob Summers is the guy that Cleveland State hired, right?
Yeah,
Good.
he was like our third assistant.
We gave that a bad grade, right?
They
Yeah, he was
also
like he was our third assistant.
Cleveland State also stole our assistant athletic director. Shout out Andrew Scholze. I'm very happy for him here at OU.
I feel like this could be a good Javon Small spot.
I like it.
Let's do it.
Why do I have no recollection of Ryan Kalkbrenner going off the board?
I took
He
him to the
was picked
Celtics.
number
Like 32.
Yeah,
All right,
32
Knicks.
Celtics.
Knicks here.
Someone who you think can play right away.
Yeah, who can step in and play right away? None of these guys really, honestly.
RJ Lewis. Brian Nemhard.
Keyshawn Gilbert, maybe?
RJ Lewis.
John Tanji.
Dude, keep
Eric
RJ
Dixon.
Lewis in New York.
Give me Eric. No, I'm not taking Eric Dixon. Jameer Watkins.
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
feels like it fits. People forget Jameer Watkins was a grinder type player at VCU before he got to Florida State. Logan,
Yeah,
you're
but
up.
we don't know if they're going to be that anymore. No Tibbs.
Starting
Noah,
5
you're
next
up for
year.
the Clippers. I'm calling you Noah officially now.
Damn it. I feel like taking Max Scholga here.
Good pick.
Love it.
There you go.
It was either him or Salas. I like Scholga better.
Who am I up with? The Suns?
Phoenix. We already took Clifford and Behringer. I take it you're not taking Dink Pate.
No, you basically can. Like, there are guys on here that I have never heard of.
I think at some point Seraph has to go.
What if we just, like, boycott?
Divest.
Torture chamber. Why is Alex Caravan on here?
Torture chamber? Where is he? Where is the torture
He's
chamber?
like the 90s, 93.
93. Are we taking the torture chamber?
Where's the guy that shredded him in the first round?
Um,
I'm gonna take.
Johnny Freeman.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this is one of the worst NBA front courts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
You can't. That can't possibly be their real front court.
Udoka Azubuike?
I'm gonna take like a guy who like could play in the front court, but it's kind of like more a point forward. I'm gonna take Kobe Sanders.
All right, that puts me on the clock with the Jazz. Jackson Robinson already went.
Real question before this pick. What does Kobe Sanders do? Or what does Igor Demon do that Kobe Sanders can't?
Sam?
Not much.
Sam was pushing like the biggest anti-Kobe Sanders narratives last offseason.
He's good, man.
Last offseason, I've grown up.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's improved
Is
a
this
ton.
Is this the Benito Stojkovic syndrome?
Yes, it is.
Have you told Logan about that?
Yes, Logan knows.
Good.
Wait, what is this situation?
It's Sam has a theory that if Bennett Sturtz's real name was Benito Stojkovic, he would be like a lottery pick in this draft.
He sent me a screenshot of that text.
I'm taking Keyshawn Gilbert here. He's you can't tell me he doesn't have a spot in the league.
Yeah.
How is Curtis Jones ranked ahead of him? Like, I'm sorry.
Nah, I don't get it either. This
I
is
actually
where
can't tell you that Keyshawn Gilbert doesn't have a spot in the league.
Okay, so Halliburton's out for next year.
Yeah.
Wait, Gabe York? What is Gabe York doing? I have not thought about Gabe York in.
Dude, the best part is that, like these are probably like the lineups from like the last day of the regular season, where like teams pull out like all the tricks from the G League and like the most random guys are playing for them.
These just have to be like out of order.
Gabe York was like not that good at Arizona.
Did he play on a Zona team that like he was the lead guard for the Markkanen team, right?
He was on the 16 team. The one that lost to Wichita State. The one after. No, wait. Was that before or after? I think that was before Markkanen.
Okay. Pacers.
I think I'm on the board here.
Yeah.
Who did I just say?
Who'd you just take? I have no clue, honestly.
Keyshawn Gilbert.
Oh yeah. Genuinely, I don't know what this Pacers team does, but
You got to take somebody.
let's go the other Nemhard brother.
Yes, good.
I was thinking maybe Tyrese Proctor because I just realized he's still on the board, but this is more fun.
All right, Lakers, Jonathan. You can't. There is no James Son to take here anymore. Now that Sion's off the board, we're still a year away from Bryce. Well, we're probably like 15 years away from Bryce getting his doctorate, but
Eligibility is in shambles now. Bryce James is 32 years old. LeBron's 63, playing on the Lakers for the 17th season of his career.
I'm gonna operate under like the
is
assumption
that Dwight Howard?
I'm gonna operate under the assumption
Dwight Howard has played in like
Carmelo?
6 countries since he last played in the NBA.
Look at the guards: Carmelo, Avery Bradley, Wayne.
Carmelo!
Epps.
Carmelo!
Wait, who's on? Deion Waiters.
Dude, this team would kill in 2009. Avery Bradley.
Shout out Coach Lou for the season assist from Avery Bradley.
Dude, is that Alex Len? Not a chance he's still in the NBA. Probably the most obvious top 5 pick bust in the history of the sport.
I beg to differ. Anthony
So,
exists.
Whoa!
LeBron is getting old, and who knows how much
We're
longer.
trying to replace LeBron with the 55th pick in the draft.
Yeah. I'm taking the next LeBron, Jonathan Pierre.
Elijah Martin's the next Bronny.
That's a good one. That's actually a good one. And I honestly like the idea of Jonathan Pierre to the Knicks. Sorry, not Jonathan Pierre.
Elijah Martin was playing in a national title game.
Just get a guy that can play defense.
What'd you say, Sam?
Just get a guy who can play defense. I'm taking Elijah Martin.
I mean that in the best of ways. I love Bronny.
No,
Elijah Martin was playing in a national championship game 2.5 months ago. Now he's getting Bronny shouts on the Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Steelers pod.
Memphis,
Elijah
you're
Martin,
up.
if you are listening,
Noah, you're up.
57th overall. Let's just go Proctor here.
Good. I didn't want to have to take him for him to go undrafted.
Magic, Jonathan.
Who's the best shooter left?
Salad.
Peyton Sanford.
Well, you could also take
Eric Dixon?
No. I'm not using my last pick on Peyton Sanford.
Let's go Eric Dixon.
I'm taking John Poulikitis.
All right. We're about to see some jackassery that's on a different level with this pick. We took Javon Small with the last pick.
Dude, did that say?
Oh, baby, that's my boy.
That did not say Wooga Poplar, did it?
It says Matt Cross. Jonathan, I think I have to take Matt Cross.
Shout out Stonehands.
No, take Steve Settle. Ow.
Hooting.
What other St. Joe's players are available?
None, but I think Meshack wouldn't be a bad pick.
Eric Reynolds isn't available?
I wouldn't be mad at Tanji here.
Give me Meshack. Just get defense. This is the team that's built off of defense. They're going to be like the number 1 defense in the league or up there for the next 5 years because of Mobley and company. Give me Meshack just because you need good defenders in practice.
So now we have a problem in Phoenix where we have no actual point guards. And I don't.
What do you mean? Kobe Sanders is a point guard.
We're like playing him at the 4, small ball 5 in this team. Let me scroll down the list a little bit here.
You want a point guard? You can take
Dink Pay. Let's go Lamont.
I like it.
All right, that is the mock draft. It is complete. It is absurd.
This is 100%. This is what's going to happen on draft night.
So most notable guys to not get drafted. Sarah.
Markovic, because none of us have heard of him.
Watch him have like a great NBA career now. RJ Lewis didn't get drafted.
Yeah. I think his attitude is probably part of that.
Hey, the Knicks haven't hired a coach yet. Rick Pitino could still be on the table.
I got to interview.
I think that would lessen the chances of RJ Lewis being a Knick, to be completely honest with you.
I got RJ Lewis in an interview at the Big East tournament last year. Seems like a swell guy. I don't know.
That's what they're saying about Ace Bailey these days too.
I've interviewed Ace Bailey too.
Everything
definitely an outward guy.
Yeah, he's like immature, but it's like in the way.
No, but Ace Bailey's funny as hell.
Yeah,
Ace Bailey's funny as hell.
No, he seems like a great kid.
At some point, we have to take a step back and realize that he's not Shadur Sanders.
No, he's funny. He's like super funny. All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
Yeah, if you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about, I don't know, Dink Pates not getting drafted, you came to the right place. You came to hear about the latest happenings with apparently now undrafted free agent Caleb Grill. You came to the right place. This has been Season 6, Episode 17 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. We'll see you next time.